Oh, folks, I just finished a very heavenly meal. I haven't cooked this one up for myself for a long time. Ginger, onions, garlic, peppers, sauteed up. Used to put tofu in it, but I wouldn't do that anymore. Put some meat in it too. I wouldn't do that anymore either. We need to eat lower on the food chain if we can. The food supply is tainted. It's basically low-level poison at this point, so it's not very good for you. But I'm going to tell you that Siri Singh Sahib was threatened by another Eastern religious leader. You would know him as Yogi Bhajan. He was head of 3HO. And what he did was he trained us. He gave us diets. He gave us tips on how to build our energy. You need to build your energy too. We're in a war. It doesn't look like one, I know, but we're in a war. And so we all need to come up. Either we're going to get our comeuppance, or we're going to give some comeuppance. So, ginger, onions, and garlic. Use a little bit of yogurt or kefir or something to buff your stomach up so it goes easier on your stomach. Sure, you can use spices, but when you're using those things, it's like, just go with what's in the food. Don't need to add any more of the stuff that might have some of the minerals and metals they put in it for us here in this society. Yes, we live in a prison society. I got some tips just a little bit ago, and I'm going to give them to you now. If they lock us down, it means they're going to do what they did last time, which is off-the-wall shit, and I'm not going to even mention it here. I mentioned it before. I don't think YouTube likes it, so I'm not going to mention it. And it actually, I lose credibility when I say bullshit like that. I mean, it's that far out. So I'm going to tell you right now, you need to be prepared to filter your water. If you can get distilled water, great. Get some water filters. A Berkey is okay. There are better water filters out there. And get replacement filters, just in case they hit us all with a wicked load of some bullshit that screws your filter up. So be prepared to change filters. And if you're a really rich man, buy the big canisters with all the water flow and go 3 stages, 4 stages. I mean, there's all kinds of fancy filtering systems out there. I like RV water filters. It's a nice store, a nice outfit. I think they're in Poway, California. I'm not sure about that. They're on the internet. I just call them up. I've been using them for a long time. Yeah, okay. They got a free... Oh, that looks a little bit better, doesn't it? Let me take care of that light, and I'll keep talking to you here. So, there have been some tips given to me by a friend of mine. You know, if I just shut up and listen, I might learn something, right? Well, she takes me down rabbit tracks and asks too many questions sometimes and interrupts too much. And when I finally shut up, she told me about a seminar she attended and what the tips were. They're going to be putting more shit in our food, more shit in the air, more shit in the water. Got it? So, get ready to batten down the hatches. Especially if they lock us down in our neighborhoods, that means they're going to be targeting us according to demographics and all the other data they have on us. So if they want to wipe you out, they'll go for the block if they have to. You know, if they want to take out an area, they're going to go after the poor people in particular. Why? Because they aren't going to be listened to. And people will say, well, good riddance. It was a drug-ridden trailer park, trailer trash. What the hell? Nobody's going to give a damn about that. So the poor, defenseless people will be taken out first and foremost. Because if they take out too many of the middle class or the upper crust, they're going to get some serious complaints. I bought this 0% milk fat kefir. This brand snuck it in on me. It used to be a 3% milk fat. And it was great. This stuff's miserable. So now I got to watch their bottles. I consider that deceptive advertising myself. I thought about calling them up, but you know, it's like I don't work for them. I'm not going to help them. I'm going to read the bottles a little bit more careful. I don't buy low fat or zero fat. I don't trust what they put in this stuff to make it that way. I want full whole foods, especially when it comes to dairy products, because when they get rid of the fat, they put a chemical shitstorm in there, which is real bad for us. So that's one aspect. The other problem is when they homogenize it. They spray it against the wall at high speed, right? Breaks up the fatty acid chain, right? You might think, well, that's good. It makes it easier to digest. Wrong. It breaks it up unnaturally into ragged little ends, and your body looks at that shit and says, what the hell is this stuff? It doesn't know what to do with it. If it's natural and whole, it goes, oh, well, we've seen that before. We'll handle that. It'll digest it just fine. For you non-smokers out there, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the store, and I'm going to get me 2 milligram nicotine gum, and I'm going to get me the lightest nicotine patches I can get. It's a little prevention, you know, just in case I decide to take up smoking. When Descartes was, he made his living off dissecting animals and drawing pictures of them. And he did a cat, he did a dog, he did all kinds of animals. But then he wanted to go after the big cat. That would be a human being. And he had to hire grave robbers to do it. Ooh. Not only that, it was against the Pope's command. You couldn't desecrate a human body. Well, Descartes went ahead and did it anyway, and he did color drawings of these things. But what he did, and what facilitated his ability to draw these things, was he had nicotine from the New World. You know, the Indians had tobacco. Tobacco came from the Americas, from North America. And it was a wild hit over in Europe. So, it stained the nervous system and the tissues so that he could picture it better and draw it better. It also has some cleansing properties to it. It releases junk, bullshit, caught up in the synapses, I'm sorry. But you got to be careful. Because with any type of detox bullshit, man, you could get real sick and it could throw you off. And you got to be careful when it comes to neurotransmitters. I had serotonergic syndrome coming and going because a physician's office there, they prescribed the wrong medications. And I take this shit for 3 days and I get all kind of lightheaded and stuff. And I'm like, man, you know, this ain't right, so let's stop it. Then the pain would come back up after a couple of days. I'd have to start it again. And then about 3 days go through, and the 4th day I'm like, what the hell is going on with me? And I went to another pain clinic, and the guy says, you can't take this stuff. You get serotonergic. I can't remember the proper word, but it basically is your serotonergic system breaks down on you, and it'll kill you. It'll kill you real fast. So I'm going to get me some nicotine gum, and I'm going to get some nicotine patches, and I'm going to try it out and see if I feel better after 6 days on the patches. Minimum size patch. I'm not a big guy. I don't smoke cigarettes. Not anymore. And it's been quite a while. Let me think. How many years has it been? Oh my Lord. 47 years, I think. That's a while, isn't it? You think my brother would forgive me on that one? Shit. Son of a bitch is going to end up going to prison. He's going to be happy to go. I'm sorry, I don't control these futures or these pasts. I just see them. And I don't like what's going to happen to Seth. I have no idea. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to look at it. I'm looking and regarding him like the marijuana plant. Yogi Bhajan says, don't even spit on it. Okay, fine. I won't even spit on him. Sad thing is, the instant karma's coming, and I have no idea what it is. It seems like he said something about his family being excused for him to, well, anyway, something there is going to be happening to him, and I can't stop it. I probably should pray for him. But, you know, I mean, why should I? He didn't care about me, and he's supposed to be acting in his client's best interests as a frickin' attorney. I live in the Spirit. The Spirit tells me to back off or go forward. Do this, do that. The Spirit commands me to do something on this piece of shit, I'll do it. It's a shitty deal. But the good thing is, sent me a check just big enough so I can get the motor home, do the transaction. If I was him, I'd make it good. I'd make it right. I mean, I'd short my instant karma. Yahweh gets pissed at people. I'm not in charge. He is. You need to take whatever preventive cautions you can. This is a multifaceted war, an attack. It's unlimited war on us. It's been that way for quite a while. We just haven't recognized it for what it is. So I'm going to try to clear out some synapses and see if I get a little bit of a boost from that. I did get my product in, by the way, the stuff I told you about that I might be sponsoring. That's very good stuff. It's so good. And I just started back on it. I don't know, it seemed like it was a darker, well, anyway, I will keep doing it, and hopefully those people will pay some attention to me and show me some love by letting me have a link that takes you to them, and maybe giving you a little bit of a preferable price since you're supporters of my show. And well, you can get help too, because you have to understand something. A lot of these illnesses that we have, these really common things that we have that begin with, well, C begins with the word common begins with the letter C, right? Yeah, real common shit that goes around. And this stuff actually works along those lines. I can't say that stuff. They'll get pissed off because I ain't a medical doctor. Thank God I'm not one of those technical jackass bastards, lying, thieving son of a bitches that kill more people in the country than anything else. #1 killer of Americans. The medical, military, industrial complex. Folks, I urge you to boycott Washington, D.C. and shut it down. Don't even spit upon them. Just, well, someday I envision people going there, making sacrifices at the altar, carrying sheets of plywood and whole plywood in, you know. That loop that goes around D.C., just going around and putting up a frickin' wall of plywood. And somebody else is going to come along with concertina wire and just roll it across the top and around, inside and outside of it. Nobody and nothing in, nobody and nothing out. Let them eat each other there. Yeah, that's what they're planning to do to this country, by the way. They're going to wall us off, basically. They're going to cut off the food and say, let them eat each other. Ask Billy Bob. He'll tell you. You've already been eating bugs. Bugs have always been in the food supply. It's just part of the contamination. Yeah. Do I recommend it? Oh, hell no. It causes immune system problems and allergies in us. One can do it, though. Remember when I was a little boy flying from the United States to Germany, stopped in Nova Scotia. Look, they weren't jets back then. They were prop-driven planes, man. They were noisy. Oh, God, did they buzz. and they were slow. Oh, did it take a long time? And you had to stop and refuel. We get off at this airport in Canada for a little bit of a break while they're working on the plane. Well, my mother decides she wants to have some fun with the kids, right? So we see the chocolate-covered ants, chocolate-covered bees. I don't know what else. Maybe grasshoppers. I just remember the ants and the bees in particular. And I remember it's pretty crunchy. But of course, it's wrapped in chocolate. What kid won't eat it? And it's crunchy. I need you to stay healthy. I need you to take better care of yourself. Now, this October 4th test, I don't know if it's real or not, but I can tell you this. Frequencies are what control this universe. It's all energy. Book of John begins. It basically informed me that everything was energy, everything was power. And it's all held together by Yeshua. That's the nice thing about it. He's holding it together. He was here before the beginning. I think we were too, by the way. Don't hold me to it. Read your Bible for yourself and you tell me. If you know the answer to that, put it in the comments, please. I would like you to buy my Bible. I support the Navage system. I don't have a sponsorship. I don't get a real good percentage off that. It just saves you $20, and I guess it saves me $20 when I order up again. And I haven't checked, but I may not have sold any of that. But here's the thing. I got a nice frame, courtesy of YouTube down there. I mean, it's beautiful. It tells you about COVID and shit and how to get more information. So, I mean, I appreciate that attention, drawing that attention to my videos. All because I say, stop COVID and other pestilence and toxins. Excuse me. Now, Navage isn't a medical device. It's a mechanical device. It's just a fancy way to rinse the snot out of your head, to clear your nose, your sinuses, and get the shit out that you're breathing all day long. Who knows what it is? And if you're in the desert Southwest, you can bet it's valley fever, which is a fungus in the soil. And when they do construction and open it up, or when the winds pick up and open it up, that stuff goes right in the air and you end up getting it. The dogs get it too. Almost everybody gets it at some point. Expensive antibiotics to take care of it. I think there's cheaper antifungals, but they won't give them to us because they don't make much money off them. I had a fellow herbologist. Guy in Florida was a retired naturopathic medical doctor. He gave me some help and he told me I need to go see somebody with real expertise. He says, our stuff is generic in treatment here. It's good for you, but his stuff is specific to you. So I got the guy on the internet. I liked him so much I decided I want to visit him. I thought I knew what he was doing, but I wasn't sure. And I had some problems with the muscle testing stuff, because I saw that before when I was a member of 3HO, and I didn't buy into it very much. Anyway, he did do that. He apparently had something going on in his clinic, in his practice. He wouldn't tell me what it was, but the feds raided his ass and put him in prison for 5 years, ruined his life, stole everything, all because of whatever this thing was. And by the way, that's back when Senator John McCain had brain cancer. I'm sorry, I don't like that son of a bitch. He was one of the most vile and evil dudes on the planet. He helped facilitate wars all over the place. The word was, if you want to get somebody whacked in Washington, D.C., you turn to Johnny McCain. His wife come out of this Anheuser-Busch that booze cooperative out of Canada, the Bronfman family. She was good looking. Like a dumbass, she stopped taking her blood pressure medicine and stroke. And this is his replacement wife. You know, he got tired of the older model, so he traded her in a younger model. And this one came with all the money he needed for his campaigns. Pretty cool, eh? Nice job if you can get it. So, she come from the Bronfman family, which, kind of like the Kennedy family, made their millions off the bootlegging from the, what was that called? The Prohibition. Yeah. The temperance movement. That, as a result of it, we got organized crime. And the result of that, we had to get our FBI. Isn't that amazing how they create a problem and give us a solution? Bronfmans ran the booze. Kennedy did some booze, but he made his big bucks off naked short trading on the stock market. He was one of the instrumental players in the takedown of the stock market in the crash in 1929. He also was instrumental in crafting up a corrupt SEC and a couple other government entities that allowed his fellow predators and parasites to act lawlessly with impunity, because they put their boys in the government and they covered up for him and gave him a license to steal. Quite literally. And by the way, that's what's going on right now. That's what's going to happen on the stock market. Okay? Well, that's what happened in 2008. That was Henry Paulson, who was the inside guy who was responsible for that. I think he and his family, they should be held in account for all the, who knows how much they ripped us off for. But we took on the funny money. We took part in it. We allowed it to happen. It's our fault. Yeah, if we hadn't turned our back on the Constitution, it might sound like a parrot, broken, dead parrot right now. Ah! Look, it's real simple. We got suckered into it. Yeah. So we got their Babylonian money magic. This enslaved us all. They'd taken over the entire fucking government by doing that. And you want to complain that you want more laws and you want more of their phony law enforcement shit? Look, man, shut this government down. Shut it good. Let the states take over. And if the states need money for some bullshit thing, well, then the people have to decide, is it worth it? Do we want it? Are we going to support it? It's like this prison system. They turn it into a big business, all because the government's got a blank check and can afford to imprison anybody they want for as long as they want. They can harass them from here to kingdom come, just like Trump. And no, my friend, the first beast is not Barack Obama. Barack Obama is the man of lawlessness. The second beast, the upper echelon Chi-Coms and the upper echelon Americans working together. Those are the two horns that pretend they're innocent. And the voice of a dragon. And he calls down fire from heaven in front of men. They don't give a shit if you know about their weapons system and the fact that they zapped us like a bunch of bugs on Hawaii. They don't care. They know there's no way out. There's nothing that we are going to do. There's nothing we can do. Except we can pull the plug. We can stop this government in its tracks. We can stop giving consent. We can withdraw from contracts. We can end all of this contract layer upon layer. And they do the same thing with the laws, Homeland Security, all of this stuff. They bury shit in there so you can't see it. And by the way, you think that there's privacy in your medical offices? In your records? There's no privacy. You dumbasses who believe in that. What the hell? Were you born yesterday? We had a guy up in the valley outside of Anchorage. And he bragged that he had the best job in the world. He was regular Army. Well, he was an enlisted man in the Army. And he wore civilian clothing. And he drove around in a civilian car, government issued, all day long with a gun. This gun was a special device. And what did he do? He took pictures of the glass windows. Why? It would tell him how much money was inside the house. You know those little platinum, whatever strips that are in there? Can't remember the platinum, latex strips that they put inside those bills. He could tell how much cash was in the house. Okay, pretty cool. Means the evil ones, the bad guys, do that too. Oh, I forgot the government wasn't exactly the good guys. What else was he doing? He was taking an image, an impression of the glass windows. Why was he doing that? Because glass is a fluid, folks. I know you're going to say, no, it's a solid, it's glass. No, it's a liquid. It's moving real slow. And as a result of that, any conversations that are on the other side of that glass in that room, or even outside of it, it records those. This is more than 20 years ago. And he would take them back, and they would decode those and get all the conversations from those. Pretty cool, huh? My God. All those previous dictators would be jealous with envy. They would admire this so well. They could do so much if they'd had a system like this back. Well, they might have still been around today if they could have done that. And there's other devices too. They can tell what you got in your car for good. They can tell where it is. I don't know if they can go quite as far as to tell you exactly what it is, but they can tell there's a gun in the car. And if they get another machine in the area, in other words, a second car with one of these devices, they'll tell you exactly where it is in the car. You see, state troopers were doing that up in the valley too. You see, they test out their new weapon systems on the outskirts. It's just like when they want to do their social engineering, they test it on the outskirts in the areas of minorities to see how it works first, and then when it's going gangbusters, they mainstream it so the rest of us get up to date on that. They did that when they mainstreamed psychiatric drugs into the population. They did that when they enrolled out, well, when they decided to make the government the husband of the wife so she could kick the father of her children out, because she could get a government check that way. And we did that to the black person first. You ever hear what LBJ said about that? I'll have them ninjas voting Democrat for 200 years. Lyndon Baines Johnson, who murdered his own president and was in power so he could cover it up. How nice. He didn't craft up that frickin' legislation. They did all that for him. The masters in the background. The ghost in the machine. The secret government did all that. I want you to start eating healthier. I want you to eat fresher. I want you to cook up your own stuff. Now, I haven't been doing that for myself. That's one of the reasons why I'm so jazzed, because finally I got out the knife and the board and I cut it up and I cooked it up in coconut oil. That's what I had handy. I got a feeling we're going to be using whatever we have handy quite a bit more in the future. I want you to buy my Bibles. I want you to take care of yourself. Get the Navage system. I want you to leave some comments down there, especially if you got some tips. If it's really personal stuff, just email me. I got to get the old email address going. Well, the old Gmail address is almost full. Yeah, the attorney shafted me. He meant to shaft me. That's what his intentions were all along. You got to remember, when they name it and put that name in front of it saying so-and-so's law, it means basically you're stuck once you engage them. Do not engage these bastards. Be careful. They hurt us all. Not all of them, but at least 2/3 of them do. Yeah. And remember the famous lines from Shakespeare? No, I'm not advocating you kill the attorneys first or any of that thing. What was so funny about it was that the real author of those lines, the guy who really crafted up that play, and I want to go listen to that myself. I don't think it was that important scene, if I remember correctly. It's been years, but John Butcher or whatever, saying, first we kill the attorneys, or let's kill the attorneys. I don't remember what the line is. You got to understand something. The guy who was writing the plays was the Queen's attorney and son. That's how he knew the inside stuff. His father was a Mr. Kent. I wish you guys across the pond would take me up on my challenge and find out his name. My uncle did the genealogies. I don't think I'm going to get them. I told him in a letter I wanted those. You know, I want those. And part of my inheritance, yes, please. I'm the oldest Kent alive right now. My brother won't respect that, but it's okay. He's got his comeuppance coming, and I'm not giving it to him, and he's going to be begging for it when it occurs. Yeah, brother, if you listen to this, you're going to be so happy to go to prison, it's not funny. You did it to yourself. I didn't do it to you. I didn't make you do those crimes. Didn't make you do that stupid bullshit. You did it to yourself. That's all there is to it. And those people that you work for, well, actually, there's some bad news for all three of you. Remember, we tend to die in clusters of 3. Yeah, all 3 of you. I mean, that's what's coming pretty soon in the pike. I don't even think they're going to get that damn estate settled out before that shit happens. I'm sorry, folks. You do this to yourselves. You do not listen to people who have your best interests in heart. You don't like people who have your best interests in heart. You hate the truth. You hate people who tell you the truth. I tried to warn you. I did all I could. That bitch says, don't send me this kind of bullshit. I don't want anything to do with this. Oh, really? Well, you're just going to have to pay the price for your freaking ignorance. Goddamn nurses. I'm sorry. They're educated too well for their own good. It's a family problem. They took their mother out. My brother already had a pulmonary embolism from the shit. He won't even admit it because it hurts too much to admit. His brother might have known something for a change. Yeah, I looked out for his best interest. He didn't look out for mine. I feel for him. Yahweh protects me. He shows me stuff. Maybe not in time, but he shows it to me eventually. Good God. You know, I mean, I love living in the Spirit. Why? It's a real turn on. It's really nice to do the right thing. It's really nice to know what the right thing is and to be able to have the ability to do it and being helped at times when you're just not coping very well. Folks, we all have our foibles. We all have our bad habits that we turn to for stress relief. So if you're turning to bad habits for stress relief, talk to your friends about it. Do what you can on your own. Avoid the professionals. If you have to go in, then get treatment. My God, if you're on a minor tranquilizer and you're trying to withdraw from it, you gotta go in. That shit'll kill you. It's the most dangerous drug to be addicted to. Excuse me. Dinner was excellent tonight. So you gotta go slow on minor tranquilizers. It's a painful withdrawal. It's excruciating. But you gotta do it. You have to learn how to manage your own adrenaline. You can't just let your adrenaline go sloppy because you're going to take one of these drugs that suppresses it and your body gets sloppy and doesn't know how to regulate it. You try to get off it, it goes squirt, squirt, squirt. Ah, I got you. I got her attention. What I'm getting at is you end up with sloppy adrenaline. It leaks, and it really is agonizing. So, yeah, I know these things. It's just really a crappy deal. I got lucky. They wanted me to work over in Harbor House, the inpatient substance abuse treatment, and I didn't want to go. And I get over there, and I didn't know, adhere to the medical model, okay? And they're into the medical model AA, and I'm like, no, that's not me. But, you know, they wanted me. Heck, I went over and had a really good time. It was wonderful. They treated me well. It was a break from the clinic. We did stuff together. And, you know, those low-level people, that low-level counselors that they don't have very high degrees. Man, some of them did better work than I ever knew anyone could do. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, you like ginger, onions, and garlic, huh? You look funny when your nose is up there. Yes, you do. All right, folks. This should be... Jeez. Oh, she wants the kefir. She gets it. Do you get it? I hope so. Like these videos. Do yourself a favor. Buy the Bible and read it. Take care of yourself. Some of those tips I gave you, you might want to try. I'll let you know how it goes. Of course, I forget things. But I got my supplement back, so maybe I won't forget this time. And of course, I suffer from information overload. I think that listening to me is probably like trying to get a sip of water out of a fire hydrant. It's real pisser, ain't it? Blows you off. The problem is I overwhelm people. I'm dumping information as fast as I can, as hard as I can, because I don't know if I'll be able to see them again. I don't know if I'll be able to help them again. But I got news for you. I had a guy do it to me once in the parking lot outside of the church on a Thursday evening in the dark. We started talking. I swear to God, he and I talked for 2 hours straight before we could break off. And at the end of that, I thanked him profusely. He asked me, "What are you thanking me for?" I says, "Because now I know how it feels." "What's that?" I said, "Well, I dump information on people all the time, and I floor them with it." He says, "I haven't had it done to me in a long time, so I really appreciate it. May Yahweh bless."